Alright, what we got about the weekend, what we got? Fuck, I always feel like I shouldn't or don't want to try and not focus on the whole Liverpool front as being a fan. Like it's not really what this is about, but it's difficult to not do that when they're sitting at the top of the table. And that's the talking point. So yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna start there. Darwin Nunez. I mean, God, the guy's been, pretty much all talks of this pretty much being it for him with his Liverpool career, and probably getting sold on the summer. Some views of some bids and stuff like that in this window, and probably on that side of things for him as well. But fuck me, man, what a weekend to get those 2 goals. Feels like Liverpool have been waiting for that weekend since probably the United one. I think most fans would say they probably felt as if how that felt at the weekend, we wanted that to happen against United a few weeks ago, and get the win and kind of almost push it towards like, right, we're really on the run here to getting this 20th title. So it was that weekend, this weekend, with the Nunez double, absolute scenes at the end, and then obviously Arsenal goal, and they drop points as they do at Villa. So it's really big for Liverpool. That could be the one that starts to kind of kick it off, or you would hope so anyway. So we'll see what happens with that. On the Arsenal front, I didn't see all of the game on Saturday night. I was tuning into bits and pieces on my phone. I actually turned my phone off when Moreno scored, the one where it hits Havertz's hand and goes in. I turned my phone off because I was raging, only to see that it had been disallowed about half an hour later. I just thought they'd won it. So unbelievable. But I watched Match of the Day this morning, and with Arsenal, everything feels very score a goal. It feels very like fucking yes, like let's go, over the top almost sometimes. Again, I said in the last video about them throwing their arms up in the air, and Trossard was doing that at the end. They're very, very, very emotional. And on the flip side of that, as soon as Villa got the first, again, only from what I'm seeing on Match of the Day and what I've heard from people, it's almost like, oh no, like the worst is now going to happen. And they don't have that middle ground of being able to settle themselves down a little bit and just kind of get through the game recently. They've obviously lost Saliba, huge injury. And I just think that was hugely deflating. And I think they're riding off so much emotion, and they're almost treating it as if they're up against like a City that have been where you can't drop points. And that's fine, that's a great mentality to have. But you're just too emotional. And I think without Saliba and without the attackers now, it'll be interesting to see how they do. They've got Wolves away next, I think, in the league. So fine, maybe 3 points, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if they start to just lose some more points from here on out. I really wouldn't be. So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, City yesterday putting 6 past Ipswich. I watched that. I mean, obviously City need something like that to get themselves going. They look decent, but you're playing one of the teams that are at the bottom, albeit hard. Ipswich had a good kind of start to the game. They had moments, they had opportunities in the first kind of 15-20, but didn't take advantage of it, and then City did. So they're starting to get themselves back going a bit. Obviously they've got the new signings that will be coming in. The last few wins have been against like Leicester and Ipswich, and then they've drawn obviously with Brentford. So I think they've got like Liverpool, Arsenal and Newcastle all coming up in their kind of next 3 to 5 games. So that'll be interesting to really see where they are, especially if they've got the new boys, and to see if they're gonna kind of pick a run up and be favourites for that kind of top 4 again. Can't not laugh at United. I mean, absolutely classic. Amorim said that they're the worst team in Manchester United history, and you've got to say that well, he's not wrong. I mean, look at where they are. I think honestly, like, they're not better than Brighton, they're not better than Bournemouth. I'm just trying to think who else is up there. Obviously, I'm not talking about like your Newcastle. Like you would think they should be on par with like Newcastle at the moment, but obviously Newcastle are miles ahead. Chelsea and all that are miles ahead. Brighton, Bournemouth, just they're not as good as those. I think they are in the league where they are. Like, I genuinely think they are floating between that kind of 8th to 13th area with the mentality and the squad that they have. It's going to be really interesting because, as Amorim said, he's losing more than almost Ten Hag did. And again, they show up against Southampton. I did the video, I said Ahmad looks like he could be the new star. I didn't mean that in terms of that's going to be United and they're going to be amazing. I just meant out of everyone, if you're rebuilding the squad, if you're Amorim, he looks like he has a bit of that star quality and that flair. So, but they're not great. They're really not. And I mean, the league position says it all. It doesn't lie. So man, it's going to get hard for him if they keep this up, which I think they will. It's going to get very, very hard for him come the end of the season if they finish 13th, 14th, 11th, that bottom half of the table. So I think he's a good coach. I think he talks well. Has he come in too late to save them? Has he come in too late? Who knows? Obviously he'll get his own window and stuff like that in the summer. But yeah. Crazy. Champions League's back this week. I don't think there's too many interesting games in there I'm too really bothered about. I think PSG play City. I could be wrong on that, but not very intrigued in that. Like, if it's a knockout game, it's a little different, but mind all that chat of the Super League and doing that type of stuff. I mean, I sometimes think if it's not a knockout game, those games are just quite boring, aren't they? So we'll see. The big one this week's United Rangers on Thursday. Tune into that. Fucking love if Rangers can beat Man United. That would be unbelievable. So we'll see what happens. But Monday, hope everyone has a good one. Gonna have a few more hits of this and then hit some yoga and get a little Wusa and a little Camelin to start the week. So yeah, peace until the next one.